Member for South Shore, St. Margaret's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd just like to let you know I'll be splitting my time with my colleague from Mississauga Lakeshore. Madam Speaker, I rise today to talk about Budget 2018, and in particular, I want to talk about the great things I found in this budget for my riding of South Shore St. Margaret's in Nova Scotia. But before I do, I want to commend the Minister of Finance for bringing forward a budget that recognizes the importance of giving women the tools they need to succeed in the economy. It's clear that when we add women to the economy does better. Just like when we add women to politics, politics changes. It gets better. And I think we can all agree it needs to get better. I am one of only 9 women who have been elected to represent Nova Scotia in the House of Commons in the last 100 years. Just let that sink in. 100 years, 9 women. That's why I'm happy today to be speaking on a budget that is putting women in the driver's seat and acknowledges the importance of having women represented in our economy and in our communities. And I know that for communities across my riding, there are a lot of great things to be found in the budget that I'd like to address. Things like $250 million for Small Craft Harbours, Madam Speaker. This is a huge investment in our coastal communities, especially because of the state of small craft harbours in my riding. It's been an issue that I've heard about so much. During the election, as I traveled across the riding, there were a lot of concerns that constituents raised to me. One of the issues I heard about the most was that our small craft harbours really needed to be repaired. Since the election, I've had constituents send me videos of wharves crumbling and flooding, message me on Facebook and Twitter, send me emails, write letters, call my office and share their concerns about the state of our harbour infrastructure. I've toured a lot of these harbours, Madam Speaker, and my constituents are right. These wharves need serious repairs. Small craft harbours are a major economic driver in my coastal community, and I'm sure some of my colleagues, like members from West Nova, Bonavista, Burin, Trinity, St. Catharines, Avalon, and many others, from members across the country, will agree that this infrastructure is heavily relied upon. 40% of lobster exports in Canada come from southwest Nova Scotia. Fishers rely on safe, small craft harbours for their livelihood. The fishing industry is the backbone in my riding's economy, and it relies on access to these harbours, and communities and families up and down the South Shore rely on this infrastructure as well. Having a safe, accessible small craft harbour means that fishers in my riding can sell their catch and provide for their families. By investing in our small craft harbours, we're investing in our fishing industry and allowing it to grow, develop, expand, and attract future investment. This historic $250 million investment will ensure the sustainability and preservation of a vital industry for generations to come. Much like, Madam Speaker, the commitment to protect our forestry industry in Atlantic Canada. By investing almost $75 million in the forestry sector, we are supporting and protecting important forestry jobs and the communities that rely on them, not only in my riding, but across Atlantic Canada. As I'm sure my New Brunswick colleagues can attest, the threat and damage of the spruce budworm is catastrophic and can destroy our valuable forests and natural resources. This funding is great news for our forestry-dependent communities because it means they can be protected from the devastation of the spruce budworm and ensure the survival of our forests. Because, to be honest, Madam Speaker, there are communities in my riding that rely entirely on the forestry sector. This industry is the economic backbone of these communities. So if they experienced a spruce budworm outbreak, the impact would be devastating. We know that the economy and the environment go hand in hand, and it's important to make sure that we're making the necessary investments to protect our natural resources and the benefits they provide to our country. That's why our government is committing over $1.3 billion to support Canada's biodiversity, protect our species at risk, and increase our capacity to manage protected areas, including our national parks like Keji-Makuji in my riding. This new funding, along with the existing $1.5 billion Ocean Protection Plan, demonstrates that Canadians can be confident that their government takes environmental protection seriously. And while it's important to invest in the environment, Madam Speaker, it's also important to invest in the workers themselves. That's why I was thrilled about the introduction of the new Enhanced Canada Workers Benefit. We know that the working income tax benefit is a refundable tax credit that supplements the earnings of low-income workers. We know that it puts more money in the pockets of hard-working people across this country. The government has already committed to enhancing Whitby to a combined $750 million in the 2017 Fall Economic Statement. Now, Budget 2018 wants to strengthen that commitment by introducing the Canada Workers Benefit. This new strengthened benefit is more generous and, more importantly, more accessible. Currently, there are too many Canadians who are unaware of their eligibility for the working income tax benefit, so they're not applying. Our plan would allow the Canada Revenue Agency to automatically apply the Canada Worker Benefit, which makes sure Canadians are getting the money that they're entitled to. I think we need to be clear about what this means and why it's so important. We're talking about just shy of $1 billion in new funding for hardworking people across this country. We're talking about impacting the lives of almost 2 million working Canadians. We're talking about lifting approximately 70,000 Canadians out of poverty. But I also want to highlight what it means to individual Canadians. This benefit means that a single mom from Queens County who's living paycheck to paycheck can buy her children new boots. Or a young couple living in Lunenburg who are just barely breaking even can afford to pay their power bill and their phone bill at the same time. It means that we're investing in the hardworking people in my riding, Madam Speaker, and in the hardworking people right across this country. And that is what this budget does. It invests in Canadians. It recognizes potential and it helps us grow. It invests in low-income earners and gives them more money for necessities like groceries and utilities. Not only that, it sees their potential and invests in their future. It invests in rural Canadians like fishers and foresters in my riding. It understands the importance of our harbours and our forests and recognizes that these industries are a way of life. It invests in women and girls, Madam Speaker. It recognizes the challenges that we face every day and gives solutions to those challenges. Because we know that getting a seat at the table isn't the only problem. We know that you can't get a seat at the table if you can't make it there to begin with. That's why I'm proud to stand in the House today on behalf of the folks in my riding of South Shore St. Margaret's and speak in support of this budget. This budget is an investment in all of us. It's an investment in Canada, and I encourage all members of this House to support it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Questions